So, how many of you will be writing mains, prelims this year? All of you? Okay. So, basically, the objective of this course is to make sure that your chances of clearing the prelims are much brighter, because with UPSC nobody can guarantee success, especially in prelims. In mains you can definitely say that whatever you discuss or whatever you read can come in the examination. But when it comes to prelims, it is mostly, not mostly, completely uncertain. So what you have to do is that, two things. One is you have to reduce this uncertainty. And second thing is that you have to increase your scoring rate. You have to increase your scoring rate. Very important. And for that, if you look at the pattern of the previous examinations, 2011, they made the change. They removed the optional. And in 2015, they made CSAT qualifying. So after that, your entire success or failure depends on your scoring in paper 1. So it is these 100 questions, that will determine your future. 100 questions and 1 million people. Number of people who are attempting or who are giving the prelims, who are applying is more than around 1.1 million, 11 lakh. But out of which only 4-5 lakhs will take the examination. Out of which again around 1.5 lakh will be serious. And again out of which UPSC nowadays reduced the number of intake into mains also. Earlier they used to take 16,000 also in 2017. At that point of they used to take 16,000 also for mains. Now they have reduced it to 9,000 also. So obviously when the intake is reduced, the cutoff will be going high also. And again, if you look at the pattern, if you look at when UPSC comes out with the notification, they will be giving the syllabus also. And the syllabus is very generic in nature. They will say that it will include current affairs, polity, economy, geography, environment and everything else. But the devil always in details. So, in previous years, what you could see is that every year UPSC would give importance to one particular part of syllabus. 2 years back it was polity. 2 years back they have asked 22 questions from polity. Before that it was economy. They asked around more than 20 questions from economy. And before that it was geography and environment, around 40 questions, 35 to 40 questions. And in 2017 it was current events. Around 35-40 questions were asked from current events only. So what they used to do is that in order to create an element of surprise in this preliminary examination, every year they would give importance to one particular section of your syllabus. And another thing that you have to remember here is that this IAS and IFS, you have a combined examination, forest service also. In forest service, what is required is knowledge of sciences. And that is the reason why even in IAS also the tilt is towards more of sciences only. And that is where you must notice, because since the time UPSC merged both these examinations, both IAS and IFS, obviously in the preliminary examination it's more towards sciences, in the main examination it's more towards humanities. That is what you could see the difference. And that is the reason why maximum number of people who are clearing the prelims are from science background. Whether you like it or not, almost 80 to 90% of the people who are clearing the prelims are from science background. Either mathematics, engineering, or medical sciences. Those who have done science subjects in their graduation. And that is a fact also. And but what UPSC has done from last year, that is 2019, we don't know whether it is going to be a trend or not. But what UPSC has done from last year is that they have again changed the pattern. And what they have done is that they started giving equal importance to all the sections of the syllabus. They start giving equal importance. If this is the case, then your chances of clearing the examination can be much brighter. Why? Because otherwise what is happening? Only those students from the science background are the ones who would be clearing the prelims. And earlier it was much more discriminatory with the CSAT. Why? Because in CSAT, out of 200, those who are from the science background and mathematics background, they would easily score 170, 180. And in paper 1, even if you score out of 200 marks, even if you score 70 marks or 60 marks, you will be easily clearing the pre also. And that is the reason why when CSAT was there, the cutoff was around 242 marks also, out of 400, including negative marking. Why? Because the CSAT score used to be very high. And then UPSC recognized its mistake. It happened for 3-4 years, and then it recognized its mistake and it made CSAT qualifying in nature. And after CSAT was made qualifying in nature, cutoff had come down, especially for paper 1, because right now it is only paper 1. Except in 2017, when the cutoff was almost 116 marks. Otherwise, the prelims cutoff varies around 100. It can be 2-3 marks higher or 2-3 marks lower. It can be 102, 103, 104, 105, or 98, 99, or 100. This is what how it happened, especially after CSAT was made qualifying in nature. So CSAT, as I said, that it is only, you have to get only 1/3 of the questions right, which should not be difficult, provided you identify the areas. Reading comprehension, maximum number of questions are asked from reading comprehension. If you practice that for say 1 week or so, then it becomes easier for you. And then a little bit of data interpretation, data sufficiency. Again, the questions are not very difficult, mostly 10th standard questions. So CSAT should not be a problem for you. But again, there are many students who could not clear CSAT also. So, but the entire game lies in this paper 1. Here, entire game lies in paper 1. As I said that UPSC kept on changing the pattern. If you look at from 2011 onwards, they kept on changing the pattern in terms of giving importance to different sections. So what on an average, if you take it, if you look at it, say polity is there. But again, what is the definition of polity? That is also we have to look at. If you look at polity, it is not only about constitution. They are asking current polity also. Constitution is static. They are asking current polity also. And they are including governance also. Little bit of governance. And then if you want, as part of governance, they are including these schemes also. All the developmental welfare schemes of the government. If you combine all the things as polity, otherwise these schemes can be part of current affairs also. So rather than dividing them into these artificial segments, what we can say is that combined together, you can expect at least minimum 15 to 20 questions. I am talking about including the current polity also. You can expect a minimum 15 to 20 questions. Whereas if you look at only the core polity, that is constitution and little bit of governance, you can have around 15 questions. And as we keep on saying all the time, your success in your prelims depends on getting these questions right. In this, your success rate should be 90%. There is no other way you can, because this is where you can, this is where you can put least amount of effort and get maximum scores also. You can put in least amount of effort and maximum scores also. So as part of our classes, obviously we will not be going into the basics, because it is under the assumption that since all of you are writing prelims, most of you have written prelims once. How many of you have written prelims once? Okay. So what we are doing is that we are assuming that you know the basic aspects of polity, and we will focus more on how to answer the questions from polity. That is most important, because here the problem always comes up. For that matter, any other question, what UPSC does is that you have a question is asked, then you have 4 options, A, B, C, D. They will say that which among the following is true or which among the following is wrong, which among the following statement is right or wrong. This is very simple question which you can answer. But the problem comes up, what they do is that they will give you 1, 2, 3, 4 statements, and they will give the choices A, B, C, D, wherein 1, 2, 3 right, 3, 4 right, 1, 3, 4 right, or 2, 3, 4 right. And this is where you will face all the time problems. That is where and this is where we will be focusing on. So that is what we will do is that we will be doing a lot of practice related to the questions. Because once you see the question, once you practice the question, in the examination hall you should be able to eliminate wrong answers. Nobody knew about correct answers for all the questions. Nobody has a complete. So you should be able to eliminate, if out of these 4 things, if you can eliminate one, then you are eliminating at least 2 choices. If you are eliminating one statement. If you can eliminate one more statement, you will get the right answer. So this prelims examination is always about eliminating the wrong choices. And that is where we should be focusing upon. As far as this polity is concerned. Why? Because this is one area where predictability can be there in terms of the questions, and predictability can be there in terms of answers also. Even if you don't know, because nobody has a complete knowledge about all the 440 articles of the Constitution. Nobody. You don't have to have also. You don't have to know all the amendments also, again which is not required. Only thing is that what is required is functional knowledge. When you see a particular statement, on the basis of your common sense, on the basis of your whatever the little functional knowledge you have, you should be able to see whether that particular statement is right or wrong. That is the kind of knowledge that you have to develop, and that is the secret of success for this examination. And obviously you will be taking chances with the questions, because if you go by only factual knowledge, out of 100 questions you can answer maximum 25 to 30 questions. And if you are more prepared, maximum 40 questions. But the cutoff is minimum 50 questions. That means minimum 100 marks. So obviously you have to take chances with at least 10, 15, 20 questions. And the entire game lies in only those 10, 15, 20 questions. And where you are taking chances, there are two things here. Blindly you are taking chances. That is gambling. We are not talking about that. Second one is probability, more statistical rational technique, where you are eliminating the choices and you are coming to the right conclusion by eliminating the choices. And that is what, as I said, we should be focusing upon. And at the end of the day, after doing all these things, I said that out of these 15 to 20 questions, you must get at least 80 to 90% of them right. If they're asking, say, 15 questions, you must get at least 12 to 13 questions right. This is the section where the probability of getting more questions right should be very high. And this is only where your chances of clearing the examinations also depend upon. Because there are completely factual questions where you don't know anything. In those cases, you simply cannot do anything also. Because if you, out of the 4 choices they have given, if you don't know about 3 choices, you know about one of them, then there is no point in taking chances. In those completely factual questions, you cannot do much about it. And those kind of completely factual questions, you find them in these sections like geography and environment, geography and ecology. So there you are not depending too much to get more questions right. So the topics where you have to look for getting higher marks is these topics. First one is definitely, undoubtedly, it has to be polity, because the syllabus is less and familiarity is more. Familiarity is more because you'll be studying both for pre and mains also. So obviously you'll have a lot more familiarity. And then after polity, the next section that you have to look for is, as I said, it has to be economy. Again, if you look at UPSC, this economy section, the focus is mostly on analytical aspects. In economy, 2 things. One is analytical, second one is factual. These factual things, you have no option but to mug up them, mugging up the things. There is no option. Factual things, you have to mug up them. But fortunately for you, these factual things are less compared to analytical things. And if you are, and again, the best part of it is that these analytical things also, from economy point of view, are also very less. That means the concepts are very less. And UPSC will always ask questions from these concepts only, all the time. Every year the same questions will be repeated in a different format. It can be about, as I said, it can be about fiscal policies, it can be about monetary policies, it can be about international trade, it can be about finance, it can be about banking, it can be about taxation. And these are all very, as I said, very, the concepts are very less. And probability of getting answers is very, very high here. Normally, people find this economy to be difficult because there is some kind of psychological phobia, thinking that it is difficult. But the moment you can overcome this kind of phobia, it is very easy. If you look at the questions from economy, in the last, say, 2011 onwards, on an average, it has around 13, 14 questions they are asking. Sometimes it is more. As I said that in 2016, they have asked 18 questions from economy. And then this year, that is 2019, around 14 questions were asked from economy. So, polity and economy combined together, you have minimum 25 to 30 questions. Minimum. So that means around 1/3. Around 1/3. And this is where, as I said, your success rate should be 80%. If they are asking, say, 30 questions here, 80% success rate means 24 questions. That means from the overall perspective, as I said that, you have to look for around minimum 55 questions. The score should be around 110, so that after the examination you should be able to immediately prepare for mains. So if you are thinking about 55 questions, around 25 questions, almost 50% of the questions only come from polity and economy. And this is where you should be focusing upon. There cannot be any compromise. And that is the reason why, obviously, when it comes to 50% of the questions getting right, your preparation time also should be in the same proportion. You should always give maximum importance to both these things, because where you can, where your hard work can really pay you off. That is where, this entire preparation for prelims is what you call completely scientific. There cannot be any emotional component to prelims preparation. So once you get these things right, then we have to look at the other aspects. Again, what you must remember here is that you don't have to read too many books also. For polity, Lakshmikant will be more than sufficient. Again, in Lakshmikant also not much is required, because whatever that is required we will be doing in the class itself. Because the book itself running into hundreds of pages. And then most of the language of the articles of the Constitution is too technical. So on your part, if you have to do it, it takes unnecessarily lot of time also. And economy also, you don't have to read too many books also, because as I said that, it is mostly conceptual clarity. If you have that, you can answer all the questions. Only thing that you have to remember for economy is these two things: economic survey and budget. These are the two important documents for economy: economic survey and this budget. Today itself, the government has said that budget will be presented on 1st of February. This year 1st of Feb is Saturday. Normally Parliament does not meet on Saturdays. Our parliamentarians, they work only for 5 days in a week. But the government has made it clear that they will be meeting on Saturday and the budget will be presented. 2 days before that you will have economic survey also. 1 day or 2 days before that you will have economic survey also. These are the two important documents for your economy. And as I said that, this is where the entire game lies, because these two combined together, you are targeting 50% of the marks that you are expected to get in the prelims examination. Once this is over, as I said that the next thing where you can get some easy marks are this modern history and culture. This is where you will be getting good number of marks, modern history and culture. Because every year, even if you look at last year also, that is 2019, history questions are around 17 questions. On an average, in history, they are asking around 15 to 17 questions in history. Out of which, only last year there were more number of questions from medieval history. Otherwise, they don't ask many questions from medieval history also. So you have to focus on if you can are comfortable with modern history and ancient culture. Out of this 17 or 15, you can answer at least 8 to 10 questions, which is more than enough from your history point of view. You are not focusing more on those things. If you get 8 to 10 questions, that would be sufficient for you. That is what again you have to remember. So unnecessarily, you don't have to again study more. Again, read only very few books. UPSC will not go beyond, as we keep on saying, they will not go beyond government documents, NCRTs. Only those things you focus on. And another thing that you have to remember is that always try to do previous year's history questions. Very important, because history will not change. Here, take last 25, 30 years, from 1990 onwards, 2020, last 30 years. Take all the history questions and do them. Practice those things. And make sure that you are getting 100% rate there. This is where you can really get good marks in history. And they keep on repeating. And if you look at the questions, they are not that difficult also in history. Really, they are not asking any difficult questions as such. And if a question related to culture is difficult for you, it will be difficult for everyone. This examination is all about relative, not about absolute merit. If one question is difficult for you, if it is difficult for everyone, then it results in equality. Nobody will answer it. You will not be losing anything out of it. What you have to remember is that you have to only answer the questions which are answered by others also. That is where you have to look at it. And after history, this amorphous concept called current affairs. What does this current affairs include? It includes everything. It includes everything. Again, in current affairs, what are the things you should be focusing on? In current affairs, you are focusing on current polity, current economy, and international relations. This is where you must be focusing on. IR, international relations. This is where again you are looking for more marks. When it comes to international relations, 200 countries in the world are there. So obviously you cannot be looking at what is happening in all the 200 countries in the world. It becomes difficult. So that is where again going through the previous year's questions will be helping you. If you look at most of the IR questions, they are mostly related to few countries. They don't ask questions from all other countries. And there you can divide them into what is called international institutions. The questions are routinely asked from these institutions, international institutions like say United Nations, World Bank, IMF, WTO. And then the questions are related to the summits which take place. Again, environmental summit, and then security summits, financial ones, trade, these summits. They are asking questions from these summits. So if you are able to track all these things, then you will be answering most of the questions. For example, where was the last environment summit that was held? Which country? And what was where did it take place? The place? Madrid.
Spain capital Madrid. It was executed in Chile, but it was not held in Chile. It held in Madrid.
Anything else?
Paris.
Paris summit was long time back, Where else? So that is where you have to be thorough with these things. If you say that it is part of environment, it is part of environment. If you say that it is part of current affairs, it is part of current affairs. So rest of all the things, what we are trying to say essentially here is that you can call them part of environment or geography or current affairs, but at the same time you should know all of them. It does not really matter with what name you are calling them, as long as you know them. So don't unnecessarily try to bury yourself in those technicalities, saying that it is geography or environment or anything like that. What you must know is what is happening around the world. For example, when was the last time this European Union summit was held? European Union summit was held. What is this European Monetary Union, EMU? In what way it is different from EU? European Union. And what are the other important summits? For example, RCEP. Then all these international organizations, NATO. At present, who are the members of NATO? And then all these organizations of Islamic countries, OIC countries. And then in Asia, we have so many regional summits. You should know all of them, because that is what is preparation. Because as a civil servant, you should know what is happening in and around the world. And what you have to do is that you have to remember all these things in a very scientific manner. Because the problem is that you will read them, but most importantly, you will also forget them. That is where the problem is. So how to remember? That is what is about preparation. How to remember these things in the examination hall. Because when you see the question, you know that you have read it sometime back in your dreams. And when the day dawns on you, you don't remember anything. It is like the fog that is covering the whole of Delhi. Where sunlight will never come. That is where you have to be a little bit more what you call cunning with your preparation. How to remember. That is what we will try to do. Because if you try to read these things as a part of a examination, you will never remember them. Because there is always the fear of forgetting them that always comes in your way of remembering the things. On the other hand, if you try to read them from the point of knowing them, from the point of understanding them, you will always remember. You can never forget those things. And that is how, not many you have to remember around, maximum 50, 20. The questions will always be asked from this 15, 20. And of course, you will have at least 4 or 5 questions from it. One question can change your life forever. Because as you can see, most of the people, they don't clear the prelims by this 0.33 marks. And those who have cleared prelims by 0.33 marks are the ones who will be getting it. There are so many of our students who cleared prelims only by 0.33 marks, got into IAS and IPS. So many of them who cleared. And there those who did not clear also by the 0.33 marks only. You can imagine the difference between heaven and hell is only. Yes, it is. Here, I'll give you an example. One of our students, she could not clear prelims 2-3 times. And in the third attempt, I think third or fourth attempt, she cleared prelims only with 0.3 marks and she got into IPS. Same. Next year, she had taken examination again. Again, she failed to clear prelims by 0.66 marks. So combined together is only 1 mark. So that is where, it is all about, if you say it is luck, then it is luck. But again, why do you have to wait for this kind of things? Why do you want to, ruin your life only with 0.33 marks? That is the reason why your target should be minimum above 110 marks. So that, you can prepare for mains also. At the end of the day, preparation for prelims means, by the time 5 o'clock the exam is over on the day of prelims, you should come out of the hall and from 6 o'clock onwards you should start preparing for mains. With that kind of conviction, you must be doing your preparation. That is possible, as I said, only when you get 110 marks. And that is where, as I said, that the certainty, you have to increase the certainty of clearing this examination. If you are hovering around 1 mark, 2 marks here and there only, if you look at almost those who don't clear the prelims, 80% of them will be getting marks which are less than 5 marks from the cutoff mark. 4 or 5 marks from cutoff marks. They will be getting only 4 or 5 marks left from cutoff. So you don't want to be in that situation. because opportunity cost, as you know, is very, very high for this examination. That is the reason why I said that, when you are preparing for these international organizations, around 15-20 of them are there. And then if the question comes from those 15-20 organizations, you must get 100% right, to increase your chances. There is no way that you should be getting those questions wrong. What is that organization? When did it come into existence? Who are the members? What is the mandate? And when was the last time the summit was held? What did they discuss? These are the things. You can, as I said, that you can do it in a very scientific manner. That is where your success will lie. And it is not difficult at all, because in spite of so much of uncertainty about the whole examination process, there are certain things which are still predictable, because UPSC will not go beyond those parameters. That is where those 15-20 organizations you have to remember, and where the summits were held, what is their objective, who are the members. For example, they will say that who among the following are not the members of OAC. This is the question they are asking in your prelims only. OAC countries. Who among the following are not part of NATO countries. Like this, they will ask you. And that is where, you should have a good knowledge of, a little bit, what you call political geography, if at all you call it as. Physical geography, economic geography, and political geography. For example, NATO countries, that means you should know about the geography, and you should know about those countries which follow these ideals of NATO countries. That is where you can be sure of your success. And then, as part of again these current affairs, if you want to call it again, around in the last few years, what you can see is that UPSC is focusing more on these schemes, developmental and welfare schemes. Lots of schemes are there. And you have at least minimum 6 to 7 questions from these schemes, government schemes. They are asking lots of questions from these schemes. And it is better if you know all those schemes. You have to remember, say, 30-40 schemes. You remember them, because when you know that the questions are asked from them, why do you want to lose out on those questions also? If you remember, and then have some kind of what you call shortcut methods to remember the schemes. You can divide them into schemes related to, say, education, health, women development schemes, then rural, urban, agriculture, then drinking water, then sanitation. Like this, you can divide the schemes. Once you divide the schemes, it becomes very easy for you to remember. And most importantly, schemes related to farmers' welfare. If you divide them everywhere, you have 2-3 schemes. Combine all of them, you will get all the schemes. So try to remember not in terms of the name of the scheme, try to remember in terms of the purpose of the scheme. Because most of the time, the schemes are named in such a manner that you will never be able to recall the purpose. For example, PM Asha is there. What is the scheme? Asha scheme. And that is the reason why when you try to predict, you remember that 100% accuracy you will always predict wrong only. So in these kind of things, never depend on probability. 100% you will always get the things wrong only. And I can give you guarantee. 100%. You will get the things wrong only. So that is the reason why focus on all those schemes. You have to focus on all those schemes, at least 30-40 schemes. Minimum 30-40 schemes you have to remember. Out of 30-40 schemes, even if 2-3 also come, that is more than enough for you. Because as I said that it is when 0.33 marks are deciding your fate. 3 questions means 6 marks. 6 marks means 0.33 into how much? You can calculate also. So don't want to miss out on those things, because you know that they are asking. When you know that they are asking, why do you want to miss out on those things? And most of the time they are asking for women and rural development and farmers. That is where they are asking most of the things. UPSC is also giving us clues. Most of the time they are asking only from these things only. And you don't want to miss out. This is where you have to spend good amount of your time for clearing prelims. As I said that at the end of the day, our objective is to move towards our target of 55 questions. With polity and economy, as I said that around 25 questions. With history, add around say 8 to 9 questions. From these current affairs, international relations, institutions, and the schemes, you will have at least 10 more questions, minimum 10, I can say. And not only that, these indices also. All the indices, they are asking lots of questions. Multidimensional poverty index, global hunger index, human development index. They are asking every year. If you see the question papers, they are asking. So, include all the things, you will have at least 12 to 13 questions here. So here, with these things, 45 questions are with us. So remaining 10 questions. You can think about other things: geography, environment, science and technology, and anything else, whatever you think. Science and technology is dynamic, and physics and chemistry or biology, static aspects. So if you can do it, so you have to get 10 questions from all those topics. Again, there also, you can minimize your risk. How can you minimize your risk from those topics also? I remember this is what we have discussed as part of as I said when we discussed the prelims preparation. What I have said is that take all the 28 states and prepare the table. I don't know how many of you have done it. Have you done these things? No? If you don't do right things, how can you clear this examination? What did I tell you? If you remember. And just prepare this table and you will see for the results for yourself, nothing else. Take every state in India, start with the population, then sex ratio, then what are the major crops, what are the boundaries, the state, what are the boundaries it shares with other states, then what is the per capita income, what are the major industries in the state, and what are the different types of forests that you find in the state, what about the flora and fauna in the state, what about the biological parks in the state, biological reserves and national parks, biological reserves and national parks in that particular state. Then what are the major irrigation dams in the state? What are the major irrigation dams in the state? Then what are the major dance forms of the state? Music and dance forms. This is part of culture. Music and dance forms of the state. Then I think today only Times of India, I thought that I would bring it, I forgot it. It had given about all the entire country, physical geography, or if you call it as physical geography or economic geography, whatever it may be. It had given each and every state what is the per capita income, where it gets, these are the things which you have to remember, because that is where the entire game lies. And then again continuing with the state, what are the major languages that are spoken in the state? Then what are the major tribes in the state? Scheduled tribes. What are major tribes in the state? You prepare like this for all 28 states and union territories. Your preparation for Indian geography would be over. And from this, you can be sure that from geography and environment, whatever you call it, you will have at least 10 to 15 questions only from this table only. And you can easily answer all the questions with 100% accuracy. The question is, which among the following states shares its borders with Meghalaya? That is what they'll give the question. So what are the states which share borders with Meghalaya? You will be looking at me and I will be looking at you. Or what are the major tribals groups of Manipur or Nagaland? Or major tribes groups of Chhattisgarh? What are the major tribes that you find in Chhattisgarh? Or for that matter, things, what are the major areas where Tulu is spoken? Yes. So like this, that is what, geography means, only these things only. What you call Indian geography. If you prepare, every day you can spend at least 2-3 hours. In 1 month you will do for the entire country. And you can easily score minimum 10-15% easily. You can score. And why don't you, do this instead of reading hundreds of books? Just take your laptop and do the research. And then most of the things, as I said, that they are available with India yearbook only. India yearbook gives all information about the states. At the end of the India yearbook, you have information about all the states. And what you are expected to do, just put that in a tabular format, so that it becomes easier for you to remember. It becomes easier for you to remember. For example, which among the following states shares the maximum number of borders with other states? They'll give you, say, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, like this. That is what is UPSC questions. Which among the following states share borders with the maximum number of other states? So what is the state in India which has borders with a maximum number of states? Uttar Pradesh or Madhya Pradesh? Okay, I thought that it is Madhya Pradesh. What are the states? Uttarakhand, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh also? Okay. Yeah. So that is what they will ask you. That is what you have to prepare. For example, in Jammu and Kashmir, in the forest, what kind of trees that you find in the forest of Jammu and Kashmir? The question that was asked in your prelims. That is what they will be asking. If you prepare the table, you will know all these things. What are the major landforms of Chhattisgarh? Or which among the following areas you find black alluvial soil? And what are the major crops of, say, Karnataka? Where do you find these sugar cooperative factories, sugarcane cooperative factory, industry factories? What are the states? Highest is Maharashtra or UP? Okay, fine. So I'm just trying to create doubt in your mind. So that is what they are asking. There is, it is not at all difficult. It is not at all difficult. Only thing that you have to remember is that you must have In a curiosity, learn about all these things. You should know about your country. For example, what are the major tribes you find in Odisha? What happened? Suddenly there is a criminal silence. What are the major tribes you find in Odisha? Or what are the major rivers in Odisha? Or multi-purpose irrigation dams in Odisha? That is why, I told you long time back, I think in the class also, you are using your sovereignty. All the adjectives in front of a republic you are using. This is what you have to do. Very simple. It is very simple, very easy to create clear prelims, provided you do it in this scientific manner. Because you call it as environment or ecology or geography. Only the same things will be asked. Now they will not go beyond. World geography, very less number of questions are asked. Even if they are asked, you cannot do much about it. Is it possible for you to know about all the 200 countries in the world? The rivers, mountains, earth, landforms and everything else. Industries? No. It is very easy to know about 28 states. Do it. And you will get a lot of questions from this only. Why can't you do these things? And try to revise these things. As I said that, for example, irrigation dams. The questions will be asked. About irrigation dams. The question is about last year, I think it was about Pattisima project. Before that, Mulla Periyar Dam. It is being constructed on which among the following rivers? Mulla Periyar Dam. So that is what, obviously, people from South India, they can answer because they don't know the fact that Periyar is the name of a river also in the north. So obviously they will find it difficult, right? So that is where, similarly, you take the case, music and dance forms. Music and dance. Every state, then they are asking, mostly Northeast, they are asking a lot of questions from this music and dance. Every state has its own separate things. Tribals. So, that is where you can get easily most of the questions right. With, as I always say, optimization. Optimization means minimum preparation and maximum output. Do these things and just read them 100 times. Because even if the question comes, even in your deep sleep also you should be able to answer them. And this is where you can easily get also. Because these are the factual questions where you are expected to get 100% right answers. Similarly, in a forest covers, tropical forest, I don't know much about the geography, but you will know about all the things. Where there are, what are different kinds of forests that you find. Again, if you take, the Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, and what is the difference between those Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats in terms of flora and fauna? I'm not asking you to answer the questions, I'm saying that this is what, fortunately, I'm not writing the examination. Unfortunately, you are writing. Both the things are there. Fortunately, I am not writing, and unfortunately, you are writing. So you should know all the things. I can stay on the river bank. I tell you how to swim. At the end of the day, you have to jump into the water and swim. So that is where, this is what you have to do. Similarly, industries. Physical geography or economic geography, whatever you want. For example, the question that was asked some time back, this automobile industry is popular in which among the following states? In Tamil Nadu, what are the major industries? What are the major industries in Tamil Nadu? You will be looking at me as usual, I will be looking at you. That is where, preparation for this examination, as I keep on saying. I keep on saying this is what is preparation. Again, music. Music. They will ask you, or dance, they will ask you what is the difference between Kuchipudi and Bharatanatyam. What is the difference between Hindustani music and Carnatic music? So, where do you find Odissi and Kathak? These are the things they can give you as a match the following or anything like that. But this is where you will be getting maximum marks. So, either for geography or ecology, environment, whatever you want to call it, you prepare it for all the 28 states and how many union territories? At present, how many UTs are there? 9 or 8? Okay, let us name all of them. So, Leh is separate or part of Jammu and Kashmir? Okay. Okay. What are the tribes you find in Andaman Nicobar Islands? What are the names of the tribes? And? And in Puducherry?
Recently came from Tamil Nadu, they got recently some identifications.
Yes, that is why I am asking. Yeah, in the examination you don't have that kind of choice. I don't remember the name. In A, B, C, D, they will give you fifth. E is, I don't remember. I don't remember the name. UPSC, please give me marks also. God bless you. That kind of choice is not there. That is the reason why all 28 states and how many? 8 or 9?
8.
We don't even remember the number. Where is the question of remembering the names also? Where is the question of remembering the names also? For example, what are the cultural sites you find in Puducherry? Recently, Indo-China leaders informal summit was held, Mamallapuram. What is so special about Mamallapuram? They will give you 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the other name for Mamallapuram? Okay, and then what is so special about Mahabalipuram? That is what they will give you. They will give you which among the following are true about Mamallapuram. If you say that it is current affairs because Indo-China informal summit was held, it is part of culture because it was part of culture. Whatever it may be, but that is what you have to prepare. That's what I am saying. You will clear this preliminary examination at the end of the day only when you develop interest in your country. Its culture, its geography, its people, its demography, its economy, its boundaries and everything else. That is where, if you do like this, as I said, getting those 55 questions right is not at all difficult. Because till now we have seen 45. Remaining 10 questions can be from only these things. Nobody can stop you from getting answers for those 55 questions. And we are not greedy. We are not looking for getting 80 or 90 questions right. Not at all. Your target should be net 55 questions, and for that you will be attempting around 80 questions with 80% success rate. 80-85 questions with 80% success rate. That means you are getting 64 questions right, 4 questions right, and 16 questions wrong. 1/3 you take out. That means 5 questions. 64 minus 5. 61 questions. So next you are getting 60 questions, right? Our target is only 55. That is that is where I just said, always say specific preparation. Identifying where you can get your marks. And as I said, what I will be doing as part of our classes is I will take up this polity, economy, and this current affairs. And when I say current affairs, I will include everything. It is not only about international relations or international institutions. It can be about current geography. And I am not going into the physical geography and all the things. I will not tell you what is the difference between sedimentary rocks and rudimentary rocks. We don't know whether the second one is existing or not. But okay, but we will not go into those things. But only thing is that when we say current affairs, we will be looking from all dimensions: culture, economy, geography, polity, and other IR and environment, like this. Again, I will not be going into the technical aspects because even myself I don't know these things. It is not ethical to teach those things which you don't know. But that is what mostly I do. Because as long as I know that you don't know, your ignorance is my bliss. So, but again, in the mains you can teach anything and everything and you can get away with it. In prelims it cannot be the case. So that is where we will try to reduce this kind of uncertainty or insecurity, so that when you go to the examination hall, you will go with lot of conviction. And as part of this, as I said that we will make it a little bit more interactive, like what we say collaborative federalism. We will make it more interactive. For example, I can ask you to prepare this kind of chart for one state every day. Once you get it, we can discuss that in the class also. Because when you discuss, then you will remember the things rather than mugging up the things. And I can keep on asking questions. Because for example, tomorrow I will say that you prepare everything about Uttar Pradesh. There is nothing to prepare, but you will have to. What is there? What is that? Because I said that the only thing that Uttar in Uttar Pradesh is Uttar. Everything is Dakshin only. So everything is very bad. Anyone from UP here? Must be there, yes. You don't have to feel bad, feel worse, You cannot do it, you cannot help it. As long as yogis and babas are ruling the states, that is what happens. So that is where, I can ask you questions. And because, my objective of asking this, because when I have to ask questions, first of all, I should also know. That is where, I'll have to do my own lot of preparation also. Because if I have to ask questions, because if I ask questions and you answer them, I feel bad, I feel hopeless, As I will always derive sadistic pleasure only in asking those kind of questions which you will never be able to answer. So that is where, you can always be there can be little bit more competitive spirit also. And, we can see the previous year's questions. And with the preparation that you have, whether you are able to answer those questions or not. That is how, we can make it a little bit more, as I always say that this preparation for this examination, you should always enjoy the preparation. Once you start enjoying the preparation, automatically success will come to you. That is what very, very important. That is what you have to do. And, for example, as I said that, tomorrow, if I say that I will be asking questions about these international institutions, And I will say that today you go and prepare on those things. And tomorrow I will also be asking questions that were asked in the previous years as well as that can be asked this year also. And that is where, it becomes easier also. And, as I said that there is no point in reading too many books. We have already made the assumption that whatever that is there in the books will never be asked in the examination. Whatever that is there in the books will never be asked in the examination. That is what UPSC does. So obviously you have to do your own research. And from my side, what I will do is that I will try to tell you how to go about doing that kind of research. And most importantly, whether it is technical things related to polity or economy, which I can be doing in the class, which will be sufficient for you, to answer the questions. It is all about empowering you, because as I said that you have to develop that kind of logical thinking. For example, last year in economy, the question was asked about this statutory liquidity ratio. Why should there be SLR, or why should there be CRR? They will not ask you what is CRR or what is SLR. They will ask you why should there be any statutory liquidity ratio. That is where we can have that kind of a conceptual clarity. The purpose of SLR is different completely from that of a CRR. The objective of SLR is to make sure that banks would not become bankrupt. That is what, because there must be some kind of a security to the depositors money. That is the objective of this SLR. That is what they will be asking. Once you have this basic conceptual clarity, you will answer all the questions. It will not be difficult at all. And even if you don't have that, by looking at the 4 options, you should be able to come to the right answer. That is what is preparation. So if you know the basic concepts, analysis you can do it in the examination also. Because in 2 hours answering 70, 80 questions will not be that much difficult. Because as I said that at least 25, 30 questions you can easily answer. It does not take more than 1 minute for you to answer one question. It does not take, because if the question says that the difference between the say the head of the state and head of the government, you will say that the president is the head of the state and the prime minister is the head of the government. This is a completely factual question which does not take much of time. Similarly, which among the following departments are responsible for framing the budget and economic survey? Department of Economic Affairs. These kind of questions will not take you much of time. Similarly, the government of the day has to resign if the budget is not passed in Parliament, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, like this. It has to be Lok Sabha. So these kind of factual things will not take much of time. You can answer those 25-30 questions in half an hour. And for remaining 30-35 questions, you have 1.5 hours. That is what you have to remember. That is where you can think, you can analyze, and you can come out with right answers. And whenever you are analyzing, as I said, this analysis has to be on the basis of your knowledge. On the basis of your knowledge. And that is where, as I said, the entire game lies also. And as I said that, you have to remember most of the things. Again, if you mug up the things, there is every possibility of, forgetting them. Instead of mugging up the things, if you try to understand, if you try to relate the things, then it becomes easier for you. If you try to relate the things. Then it becomes easier for you to remember, and it becomes easier for you to get those questions right also in the examination hall. I said that if the question is about the different kind of trees that you find in Jammu and Kashmir forests. So for that, you should know what kind of forests are there in Jammu and Kashmir, what kind of trees will be there in the forest. And if you are able to do these things in a more dynamic manner, imagining yourself there, and if you can do those things, it becomes easier. Similarly, what are the tribes that you find in, say, in Meghalaya or Manipur or Nagaland? What are the tribes that you find in Nagaland? What are the tribes that you find in, because in Odisha you have different kinds of tribes. In Chhattisgarh, you have different kinds of tribes. What are the tribes? If you are able to remember them, it becomes easier for you to answer the questions. Similarly, you have many irrigation projects which are creating a lot of controversy between the states. For example, take the case of Almaty Dam. Almaty Dam is a bone of contention between which among the following states? What are the states? For that, you should know on which river the dam is constructed also. As usual, you will be looking at me and I will be looking at you. So that is where, your preparation has to be there. So if you know about all the projects in Karnataka or, Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh or Maharashtra, as part of the table, you will answer these questions very, very easily. Since you are not doing it, what we will do is that we will make it compulsory, mandatory, because you don't do it in a voluntary manner. So what we will do is that, obviously every day we will have class for say 2 hours, and half an hour we will only have questions about that particular state, one state a day. In that sense, your preparation also will be, or one class in a week only for the 4 or 5 states, like that. I keep on launching all the missiles questions like Iran, and like United States of America you will be ducking. That is what the preparation, because this is like normally what we say is that for this examination it is always better to have a group of people, small group of people where you can, but the problem is that when you have this group of people, what you do is that you mostly discuss about cultural activities than studies. That is where the problem is. I think sometime back 2012 or 13, around 7 students from IIT Bombay, they came to me, all 7, 2012 or 13, and this year all 7 of them got into services. By this year, it has taken of course 7 years. Some of them got into service in the first, second attempts, some of them third attempt, fourth attempt, some of them now. But only thing is, that is what I say, it is about the significance of the group. All of them got into services. Because that is where this kind of a combined preparation can be helping, because they can be dividing the things among themselves, and they will be because if you are preparing for one state, other person can do it for another state, or you can prepare, both of you can prepare separately, then you can compare where you have missed. That is where that is how you can do the preparation, because doing it on your own after some time back, as you study in public administration, it results in monotony. That is where you require some kind of diversity. That is where we will be spending at least, as I said, that half an hour I keep on asking, and you can keep on crying in the class and go home, and then study again. Next day I will ask more questions, more crying. Okay. So that is how it should be, because there is some, unless you develop that kind of interest, I just said that, I will say that, tomorrow I will be asking questions about these 5 international institutions. You study from all the sources that you have and come back next day. Because in conventional teaching, what happens is that I will be teaching all the things, and then, then I will be asking questions. That is useless, because I believe that all of you are responsible, capable, intelligent individuals, right? There is no need for spoon feeding, because otherwise prelims coaching is stupid thing. If I am giving coaching for prelims means, I am deceiving the students only. But otherwise, who will give? Mains you can understand, optional you can understand, because you don't know anything, the person who is teaching also don't know anything. All of you will be sailing in the same boat. But for prelims, it is not. If at all, prelims coaching is only about giving this kind of guidance and direction. So that is where we can see From my side, as I said that this polity, economy, current affairs, which includes everything, geography, environment, everything. Sciences, science and technology, I don't know much, so I will not be venturing into those things. But fortunately, we have a very good person for this environment and science and technology. He has a lot of experience. He will come and take those things. And we will have someone for geography and history also. Those things. Because there also, again, mostly it will be like that only. So this is how we shall be proceeding. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me. And as I said that there is no question of giving any kind of guarantees. Only thing is that my only from my side, my only effort is that to make the whole process more interesting and more enjoying in nature. As I keep on saying, at the same time, at the end of the day, you must be able to enjoy the things that you are doing. And most importantly, giving you that kind of necessary confidence that at the end of the day, you can still clear this examination. That kind of conviction that is required. And making, again, doing all the things in a very scientific manner. That is what we will be doing. And we will be starting with, which one is more difficult for you, polity or economy? Economy. Then we can start with economy. Because if you start with the most difficult thing, then rest of things would become easier for you. Economy, anything more than 1 week is a criminal waste of time. Even Manmohan Singh also never studied more than 1 week. Even though he has done PhD, real study is only for 1 week. And Nirmala Sitharaman never really bothered to study for 1 week also. 1 hour is also too, because she has to look after so many other things. What the students are doing in JNU, that is what she has to look at. She has to keep on tweeting about all the things. So 1 week is more than enough for economy. Again, as I said that what I will be doing is that, for example, if I take up, say, fiscal policy or monetary policy, for one hour I will explain the basic things. Then we will focus more on question answers. That is very important. Of course, economy for 1 week, and then you have at least 3 classes for budget and economic survey. That is where maximum amount of thing. Yeah, because budget will be presented on the 1st of February. We can do it only later. Even though I have access to all the budget documents, if I reveal all the secrets now, it will be against Official Secrets Act. So I cannot do those things. Section 8 will be. So as far as books are concerned, you don't have to read anything for economy. Whatever we do in the class is sufficient, nothing else. Why do you want to read too many things also? Basic things are more than enough. And economic survey and budget will be doing it in the class. And we will not be, you can be assured of one thing, you will not be given any material. I don't want you to be materialistic in your life. Already you have suffered so much of materialism. And not required. Whatever the books you have, keep it with yourself. That is more than enough. Not required. As I said that, we will be focusing on only the core areas with more emphasis on, as I said, conceptual clarity. That is the only thing. And then what we can do is that, as I said, that we can have 2 things. Either every day, as I said, 1 state we can take up, or on Saturday we can take up 5 states combined together. Whatever that is feasible for you. If you have the consistency of preparing for 1 state a day, that will be great. Because within 1 month you will complete all those geography, current geography or environment or economy, everything else. and it will be some kind of incentive for you also. But only thing is that, if I'm taking 2 hours class, you have to work for at least 6 hours. That kind of a commitment you have to show. If you can show that kind of commitment, then we can do the things. But only thing is that at the end of the day, the chances will be much more brighter. That is only one thing. You can clear the examination. Because as I said that UPSC will not go beyond this thing. In spite of so much of uncertainties, they will not go beyond those things. Economy we can complete in 1 week time. Polity also maximum 1 week or 10 days. That should not take more than enough. Then current affairs. Anyway, every day we will be doing for one state. Apart from that, we will have specifically for 4 or 5 days for international institutions, and 3-4 days for summits and everything else. That should be more than enough. And then current economy part of budget and economic survey, and current polity also. Every day I will be telling you again. These are the things which you have to study from current polity. I will say that please study about everything happened in the last 1 year about fundamental rights. Any current event related to fundamental rights. Have you seen anything happening with fundamental rights in the last 1 year?
Access to internet in Kerala.
Pardon?
Access to internet in Kerala case.
For that you should know what are the fundamental rights also.
Internet is also given as fundamental right.
Yes, access to internet is also fundamental right. Under which article? Not everything can be 21, I think. That is where we'll be looking at each other face. So that is where, that's what I am saying. Either one day we will look at all the current events related to judiciary in the last 1 year. I will say that do those things. Next day I will ask you questions from those topics. As I said, at the end of the day, 90% of the things should be done by you only. Don't think that I will be taking you 90% of the things and you'll have to go and vomit the things. No. 90% of the things, let us not have any kind of hallucinations and illusions here. 90% of the things have to be done by you. Remaining 10% are the things which you cannot do on your own. That is where I will be stepping in. That is where, for example, when we do the polity, I will say that tomorrow in a class we will be doing, say, fundamental rights and directive principles. There is not much to teach in fundamental rights and directive principles. So I will be focusing more on asking you the questions and how to answer the questions. That is how, as I said, it is mostly more of a dialogue than a monologue. It will not be like a conventional class. That is what. And be prepared for these things. If you are prepared, you can come. Again, at the end of the day, it is all about your choice. Because those who have this burning desire to clear pre, will work hard. It is as simple as that one. Only from my side, I will be giving you the direction and guidance. And most importantly, installing that kind of confidence in you with right thinking and everything else. 2 hours we can have the class and half an hour. Every day we can discuss about the states. Every day one state. 28 states and 8 or 9. We are not clear. 8 or 9? 9? 8. How many of you are saying 9? 9 or 8. As usual, let us take 8.5. All those things also. Yes. See, again, for conducting tests for your prelims is only for psychological satisfaction. If you want, I will do it. Otherwise, seriously, test series for prelims is the worst kind of lie. You take any of the test series in the market, you have hundreds of them. Take all the questions, not even a single alphabet will match in the UPSC paper. If you want, I will conduct. Because to show my own superiority, I will give that kind of questions which can bring tears to your eyes. Looking at the question paper itself, if you want, I will do it. No problem. I will conduct. At least for history and geography, those kind of things we can have it because they are static things. Rest of the things, mostly, as I said, mostly we'll be discussing as in the question answer format only. At the end of which, I will have definitely some tests. Again to show my own preparation, not to test your preparation. I said at the end of the day, if you have to at all prepare only from UPSC questions, if you see the pattern, then only you will. And of course, I will definitely try to give questions. But again, the thing is that if I conduct the test and if they are not coming in the examination, you feel bad, I feel bad. That is the reason why I don't want to unnecessarily get into a situation where I get into depression. In the mains, I know that when I give the questions, they will definitely come in the examination. That kind of certainty is there. For a prelims, no. That is the reason why let us not focus more on these tests. If at all, as I said, last 30 years, take all the history questions in a geography, physical geography. They are static parts. Polity, constitution, static parts. We'll do those things. So this is how, and yes, we will let us try to have 1 or 2 comprehensive tests for your own psychological satisfaction. That is the only thing. And the comprehensive tests also come with a rider also, with a stamp paper written signature, that not even a single question will be featured in the UPSC examination. If it is there, I can be made criminally liable for my unpardonable crime. That is what. I remember, I think 3 years back or 4 years back, I don't remember, I went to Bangalore to take these prelims classes. And they had given me 2 days. I said that give me 1 day morning to evening for polity, another for morning to evening economy. And I took 8 hours classes per day. I said that if anything comes out of this in your prelims in both polity and economy, he can make criminally liable. Not even a single question had come out of it. Because you can easily predict, even in prelims also, the questions related to polity and economy with 100% accuracy. They will not go beyond that. But rest of the things, it will be very difficult. That is the reason why let us focus more on concepts and how to answer the questions right. Because questions will come from the concepts. If you prepare from the question point of view, you will never clear. If you prepare from the concept point of view, you will always clear the examination. So this is how we shall be doing the things. If you have any further doubts, you can ask. We can have either 5 days or 6 days classes in a week, depending on your own convenience. That is not that kind of flexibility will always be there. And one thing is that, as I said, one thing which let us not compromise with is this state, every day one state. Because if we make it mandatory, then as I said, you will be answering most of the questions. It becomes easier also. I can ask questions about the state. When I ask the questions in the class, there will not be any choices. Let us not have any choices. Otherwise, you'll be looking at only ABCD all the time. That is what I remember I told you also. A person had written prelims 6-7 times. He cleared and then went to interview. And since he has so much of experience of writing prelims, his interview he was asked, what is the name of your father? He said, give me 4 choices. I don't want you to get into that kind of situation. Get into that kind of situation. You don't want to get into that kind of situation. So let us not think about the choices, whether prelims or mains. Always say that only one thing: give choices to UPSC. That is how your preparation should be. You ask any question, I will answer it. That should be your way of preparing for this examination. And that is where we have to be. Otherwise, if you start looking for choices, then towards the end in your life there won't be any choice also. That is where so that is what as I said that at the end of the day everything depends on you only. If you are willing to work hard, because at least for one state every day you must spend at least 3 hours. There is no option. You have to spend at least 3 hours. You have to look from India yearbook, you have to look from internet, you have to look from other places. You have to go to the website of each and every state. There you will get all the information which I have mentioned. And then what I will be doing is that I will be only asking questions. And what you have to do is that you have to write answers. You cannot be answering the questions because one person will answer and rest of them. You write answers and towards the end we will see how many of you got all the questions right. We can have some kind of small prizes also if you get all the questions right. What are the prizes? Chocolates. Very good. Very good. Cadbury chocolates. Okay, no problem. You can have. So those kind of things. That is what, because I said that don't look for choices. Don't look for choices. If I ask you what are the tribals that you find in Odisha, you have to come out with all the 4, 5, 6 tribals. You have to remember. If the question is asked in the examination, as I said that it is about the facts, especially geography and ecology and environment, it is all about the facts. If I ask you what are the major crops of Chhattisgarh, you should be able to tell me what are the major agro-based industries that you find in Karnataka. That is where I would like to answer. So this is how I said that basically to generate more interest in you and also to make you empower yourself. If you are able to do it on your own, that is really good. If you cannot do it, let us do it combined. To give you some kind of motivation. So that is how we shall be doing, and tomorrow I think we can start with the economy because that is one area if it is difficult, because polity you can see the questions, you can read them and then you can cry. Economy, you cannot see the questions also, then you cry. So our objective is to make sure that in economy you can see and then you cry also. That is what, and as I said, it does not take more than 1 week, and excluding economic survey and budgets. So tomorrow in economy we can start with basic things, which you can study also before coming to the class also. We can start this fiscal policy, because every year in economy at least 3-4 questions are from fiscal policy. In fiscal policy, what are the things that we will be focusing on, or UPSC will be focusing on. It will be about revenues, expenditure, budget, borrowings, deficits, and different types of fiscal policy, all these things. Revenue policy, expenditure policy, then budgets, then borrowings, all kinds of deficits, and then different types of expenditure, revenue expenditure, revenue receipts, capital receipts, all these kind of things. and then taxes, non-taxes, all these things. And what we will try to do is that we'll briefly discuss about these things and then focus more on Q&A. That is what we shall be doing these things. And as far as the states are concerned, you can decide what are the states you want to, what is there to discuss in Andhra Pradesh, except the person standing in front of you. There is nothing worthwhile to discuss. You can start from the lowest or the topmost or lowest bottom part of India. You can start with Jammu and Kashmir or Tamil Nadu or Kerala. Which one do you want? J&K. What is there? Okay, fine. Jammu and Kashmir. It includes Ladakh, Leh and everything else. And it is very important because Jammu and Kashmir also shares international border. So be prepared for other things also. Everything else. What is LOC, LOAC, all the things. Everything you have to be prepared for Jammu and Kashmir. What are the tribes that you find in Ladakh, Leh, Jammu or Kashmir? Everything. What is the physical, what are the differences between physical geographies of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh regions? All those things you have to be prepared. Everything about Jammu and Kashmir. Right? So that is it. We can meet at the same time tomorrow, 11:30, and we can proceed with these things. And as I said that don't have any kind of hallucination that I'll be doing everything in the class. It is like special category status states. 90% will be done by you and 10% by me only. This is some other special category status. Jammu and Kashmir, be prepared for everything. Last year itself, I think Jammu and Kashmir, 2-3 questions are asked in Prelims. Be prepared for everything. So, and then tomorrow we will look at everything about fiscal policy, economy. Right? If you have any doubts, you can ask, otherwise we can meet tomorrow. Yeah. Maximum 3 months. 3 months is also more than enough. Because all these states will take, for me, polity, economy and current affairs. It will take me around maximum 1 month, these things. And then history, geography, they will take, and environment. They require a little bit more time. Current affairs, I think, we will do, when we are doing polity, we will do along with that. Specific current affairs we will do, I think, in the month of March. That would be better, in the month of March, because UPSC will take up to at least March end for current affairs. We will do it in the month of March. Again, as I said, that current affairs is not, like amoeba. There is no structure. So that is the reason why we are doing current affairs every day. Every day we are doing current affairs, but we have to give some name for it also for other classes. We call it as current affairs. That is what. Or you can say future affairs. In fact, they are not current affairs, they are past activities only. There is nothing current. So that is what, mostly otherwise I said that in the month of March. First we will start with economy, and then we will do a little bit of polity, and then we will get history and geography. But when we are doing history and geography also, one day in a week we can do all the states. Or maybe 2 days states and 4 days those things, like that. Because that is very important for us. All the 28 states and how many UTs we don't know. All those things. Very important. Right?